We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. When our memories outweigh our dreams, it is then that we become old. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes. But if you learn from them, you'll be a better person. It's how you handle adversity, not how it affects you. The main thing is never quit, never quit, never quit. Being president is like being the groundskeeper in a cemetery. There are a lot of people under you, but none of them are listening. If you want to live like a Republican, vote like a Democrat. All America loses when any person is denied or forced out of a job because of sexual orientation. Being gay, the last time I thought about it, seemed to have nothing to do with the ability to read a balance book, fix a broken bone, or change a spark plug. People around the world have always been more impressed by the power of our example than by the example of our power. We cannot build our own future without helping others to build theirs. A man is more than the sum of all the things he can do. Mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shame us all. Each bloodletting hastens the next, and as the value of human life is degraded and violence becomes tolerated, the unimaginable becomes more conceivable. You can put wings on a pig, but that doesn't make it an eagle. We live in a completely interdependent world, which simply means we cannot escape each other. How we respond to AIDS depends, in part, on whether we understand this interdependence. It is not someone else's problem. This is everybody's problem. If one candidate is appealing to your fears, and the other one's appealing to your hopes, you'd better vote for the person who wants you to think and hope. They should be impressed by the power of our example, not the example of our power. If you live long enough, you'll make mistakes. But if you learn from them, you'll be a better person. We all do better when we work together. Our differences do matter, but our common humanity matters more. When our memories outweigh our dreams, we have grown old. Our democracy must be not only the envy of the world but the engine of our own renewal. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. That's the permanent mission our founding fathers left us, moving toward the more perfect union. When I was in England I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it. I didn't inhale. He didn't say a word or do an action that did not have a purpose. Gerald Ford once said that an impeachable offense is whatever a majority of the House of Representatives says it is. Sometimes when people are under stress, they hate to think, and it's the time when they most need to think. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America. That depends on what your definition of is. A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons. Nevis is. Follow the trend lines, not the headlines. Someday we hope to liberate every man on earth from the tendency as old as human history to identify our strength and manhood with the ability to control the lives, limit the chances, and doom the dreams of women and girls. All too often, those who rail against them prevail over earnest pleas to remember what we can be and do together. Our brains have worked this way for a long time. Maybe they always will. But we have to keep trying. That's the permanent mission our founding fathers left us, moving toward the more perfect union. This is a practical country. We have ideals, we have philosophies. But, the problem with any ideology is that it gives the answer before you look at the evidence. Sometimes the strategy is just a narcotic to feed the beast in all of us. Obama doesn't know how to be president. He doesn't know how the world works. He's incompetent. He's an amateur. He, Walter Cronkite, was also a profoundly good man. I don't think we should lose sight of that. All those professional gifts emanated from a very good core, and that's something that's beyond training. It's who he was. His knowledge of war has fed a passion for peace. If we don't succeed, we run the risk of failure. Psychologically, we're all a complex mixture of hopes and fears. Each day we wake up with the scales tipping a bit one way or the other. If they go too far toward hopefulness, we can become naive and unrealistic. If the scales tilt too far the other way, we can get consumed by paranoia and hatred. Do as much as you can for as many as you can, every day. Even on the bad days, there's always something good you can do. All too often anger works better than answers, resentment better than reason, emotion trumps evidence. A sanctimonious, sneering one-liner, no matter how bogus, is seen as straight talk, while a calm, well-argued response is seen as canned and phony.